Welcome back to the Step Into Your Power virtual event, where we're speaking with experts on how to crush your inner critic, discover your unique gifts, and live the life you really want to live. I'm your host, Monica Stevanovic, and I have the pleasure to introduce Katrine Horn. Katrine, welcome so much to the show.
Thank you so much, Monica, for having me.
So happy to have you. So Katrine leads women to live by design versus default, using all their gifts and talents, even the ones they never knew they had, resulting in passion, love, joy, and success. I cannot wait for this interview. I've been so looking forward to chat with you. So Katrine, I'd love to start off by learning a little bit about you. What is your journey? Where did you start? How did you come to where you are today?
Yeah, well, that wasn't quite a direct route. And I think sometimes that is what could be holding us back. It's not knowing exactly how to get where it is we want to get to. So I didn't know where I wanted to get to when I was young. So I just started somewhere. And I started by playing the harp, imagine, of all things in the world I could be doing. I just said, okay, as everybody's telling me that all my dreams are unrealistic, let me just pick the most unrealistic one and go with that one. So I decided to play the harp, and that involved emigrating to the UK. I was born in Denmark, so I just hopped over the North Sea to the other side, and I auditioned for music college, and against all my own beliefs and everybody else's beliefs, I got in, imagine. And not only did I get in, I didn't know that outside Northern Europe, you had to pay for your education. Right? I didn't know there were college fees. So that wasn't even a problem on my horizon. But you know what? It never got to be a problem because I was awarded a scholarship that took care of all my tuition fees. And that was something like £20,000 a year at the time. And I mean, had I known that, I would never have gone for the audition because I just would have told myself, well, Katrina, you haven't got that kind of money. Do you see what I mean? So I could have held myself back. I could have just not gone for it. So a mix of ignorance and desire really allowed me to take that first step. And I think that was the first empowering step that I took in my life, that then later on, through many various detours, led me down to the south of France, where I am now, and where I'm enjoying being a life coach.
That's so beautiful. So starting as a harpist all the way through life coach. So what made you want to become a life coach?
Well, being a performer, being on stage, it was really difficult to hide, if you see what I mean. But I managed to hide anyway, because I could hide behind my harp, right? If I played beautiful music, then people would like it. And then I would feel good because people liked it, I thought. But I didn't feel good because I thought, well, people are liking the music and they might not be liking me because I wasn't being me. I was being completely fake, right? I was playing a role. I was putting on a mask. And even though that was all very charming, and even though people liked it, I was left with the question for myself, well, if people like me with my mask on, if people like me when I'm playing a role, who is it that they're liking? Mm-hmm. So I was trying to get from everybody else what I couldn't give myself, which was really that unconditional self-love that we're all after. We think that it's up to other people to give us the love we want to feel, but it really starts with ourselves. And I know that you, Monica, you believe so too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we hear about self-love all the time, and they make it seem easy. Like, it's okay if you just love yourself, everything will work out. And whenever I see that, I'm an engineer by background, so I want to know how everything works and how all the pieces together. I'm like, really, how does that work? How does self-love work? Especially when you have deep-rooted trauma or things that happen and it's hard to shift yourself out of that like emotion that you're feeling. And it's like, yeah, just feel self-love. And so, through my journey, I've learned there's a difference between saying it and learning to embody it. And self-love is really a journey. So, I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we really, like, how do we move ourselves into this place of self-love? How do we get there? From if you're someone that's never loved yourself and you don't even know how to do that, what's the first step?
Yeah, I love what you say, Monica, about embodying self-love, because it's all very well telling yourself, oh, you are the most gorgeous woman on earth, Katrina, you are fabulous, you are so talented, I love you to bits. And that all that is just words, really, right? It's just something we say unless we really feel it. And I don't mean just believe it, because we can believe it intellectually. We can say, I am as worthy as Monica. I am as good as Monica. I can say that and I can sort of believe it in my brain, but if I'm not embodying it, I'm not really being it. So I love the word embody. And I think we have to embody it by training ourselves, right? It's really difficult to go from self-hate to unconditional self-love, right? So
Right.
it's about taking those baby steps every day where you cultivate yourself, right? You start treating yourself as you would a puppy, like an adorable puppy. Like you can have anything against a puppy, or you can switch puppy for a cat or a baby or whatever. But if you really look at a baby animal or baby human, it's very difficult to be upset with them, isn't it? Even up, right? Even if they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing. And that is really how we want to feel about ourselves. So we can allow ourselves to make all, we can allow ourselves not to be, allow ourselves to have a bad hair day, right? But that is all well and good. But we can also slowly but surely get used to treating ourselves as that adorable puppy. And that involves not shouting at it, not criticizing it, right? It involves also treating it really in the kindest, most delicate and considerate way. So that is how you can start looking at yourself like, if you were that precious being, how would you be treating yourself now? And you wouldn't be tearing at your hair to comb it, right? You wouldn't be saying, oh, I can just skip lunch so I can get some more stuff done. You wouldn't be saying, oh, this is good enough for me when there's something better, would you? You would be going straight for what was best, I think.
Yeah, I love the comparison to a puppy. I have a little puppy who I'm in love with. She's like my child. And so she knows she's so cute. Like when she goes up and says hi to someone, of course I'm the cutest everywhere. So it's this knowing that of course I'm so cute and beautiful and loving, because that's just what I am. I love that analogy. That's really beautiful. And I love what you go ahead.
That is exactly what I am, but also who I am.
Yes. Words are important. Words are very important. Yes. So that's really beautiful. And so I think, so as part of this process, I would imagine, I know you do a lot of work around authenticity, and to start this journey of self-love, I would imagine it takes a lot of, honest, like you have to learn to be honest with yourself and learn to really just be kind with what's coming up. So can you talk a little bit about this connection with self-love and authenticity and how we can start this journey of being authentic to ourselves?
Of course, I'd be delighted to, but you must always remember that I come from very, very far, because I used to be so fake, right? So I've really had to tease this apart. And I think it all started to become a lot easier when I allowed myself to just make mistakes, right? So I started telling myself, never perfect, always genuine. So when you can let go of that whole thing of trying to avoid making mistakes, and if you can just make all the mistakes you make and then just look at them and say, oh, that was a mistake.
Right.
and have that be all right. You will get rid of a lot of the judgment that you've got around yourself, really. And it's that constant judgment where we fuel this criticism of ourselves, right? It's not even that we're comparing ourselves to other people, because I think we're a lot more lenient with other people. We're a lot more accepting of other people than we are with ourselves sometimes, or I know that I used to be so. So I really had to accept that I was no better than other people, but I was just as good, right? And I could extend the same tolerance for myself as I did to other people. I could extend that to myself, and that got rid of a lot of the pressure. But I think I lost your question a little bit in
no, it's okay. We were talking about the journey from self-love to authenticity, which I think you answered it really well. And I love what you said about giving yourself the freedom to make mistakes, so I mean, there's also like, we want to appear so perfect, but that's in alignment with the being fake a little bit, where it's like, oh my gosh, if I don't do this perfectly, then like, what's going to happen? What are people going to think? In fact, when I was preparing for this event, I was talking about it with a friend, and she's like, you know what? The best interviews are the ones where you're the most real. If you make a mistake, like laugh, like people want to see humans, and they want to see the mistakes, because the mistakes are what make us real. And that really is what I think leads to authenticity. Yeah.
Yes, completely. And I think in the world today, we really don't need any more fake people. And what you could also consider is that when you show up to a meeting, when you show up to a family party, when you show up somewhere, like the last thing people need is somebody fake. The last thing people need is somebody living up to some undefined expectations, right? And I would like to invite you and everybody else, and myself included, to always think, wherever it is that I am exactly what is needed.
Beautiful.
I am the best thing I can bring to this situation or this place or this gathering. I am exactly what is needed. Everybody else is being exactly what they believe is needed. But if I am being me, then I can't go wrong. So some people might not like me being me, but that is okay, right? That is okay. At least, well, then they just don't like me. And I know that they don't like me, right? I'm not wondering whether they like my performance. I know that if they like me for who I am. If they don't like me, well, they don't like me. And I mean, if you're pleasing everybody, I think it's a sure sign that you're not being yourself, right? Because if you're in that game where you're trying to please, and I've been there. So if you're in that game where you're sort of modifying your behavior all the time just to fit in, to please, well, that is really a sure sign that you're not being yourself. You're not being that authentic self. So it really helps me to say, even though I'm here and it feels a little bit strange, let me just be myself, because I know that this is the best I can bring to the situation.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I love what you said about people pleasing, because I have those tendencies too. And it's like, you don't want to hurt. So I think one reason people do so much people pleasing is they don't want to hurt someone else, right? But it's at the cost of hurting yourself. So how do you navigate people pleasing? How do you honor your own authenticity and yourself, yet still and have your boundaries, but you're not harming others around you at the same time?
Yeah, that is a gorgeous question. So I believe that I'm responsible for me, and then other people are responsible for other people, right? I'm not responsible for them. If I start assuming responsibility for how they feel, I'm disempowering them, right? I'm making them dependent on me behaving in a certain way, which is very disempowering. I'm telling them, yeah, don't try to navigate the real world. I will accommodate everything for you so that you don't have to be faced with reality. And I think that is so disempowering for other people. And I think it's really irrespectful. If I'm saying to people, I can't be myself because you wouldn't be able to handle that. I mean, how can I say that to a grown-up person? I mean, how can I
Yeah.
say that without being deeply insulting, really?
Right. Yeah. And there's a way to, navigate things, like if something's making you uncomfortable, like you just say like, this is what I'm comfortable with right now. You can take it or leave it, like there's a way that you can express your needs and still have boundaries and be respectful to others without people pleasing. Yeah.
So just about boundaries. If we've had no boundaries in place for a long time, we often put out boundaries like in barbed wire. So we come across as extremely defensive, extremely demanding, extremely needy, or very self-absorbed. And well, that might be okay for a while we're practicing putting up boundaries. We must just remember that that is very off-putting for people, right? I have never to this day been thrown out of a gathering because I was being too much myself, right? So it's because I'm not being myself obnoxiously, right? I'm not demanding anything of other people. I can have them be them and they can let me be me. And that is all well. So I see my boundaries as me being 100% responsible for myself, my thoughts, my feelings, everything concerning me, right? And obviously, I don't want to offend on anybody. I don't want to upset anybody. But if me being me upsets somebody, well, that's just tough, right? That is just very tough. I'm not going to modify my behavior, but I'm not going to be rude. And I'm never going to demand that anybody do anything for me so that I can feel better.
Yeah, oh, that's so beautiful. And usually when someone gets upset, it's nothing to do with you. It has to do with them. So that's them, not owning their own traumas and their own issues that they're dealing with. Yeah.
Which is perfectly okay because they are where they are, right? They're on their journey and this is where they've got to. And that is perfectly okay. So I can be there. They can see, oh, I don't like that woman. Let me get away from here. She's triggering something in me. So they can either choose to look at what I'm triggering in them, or they can choose to just go away, right? That is really up to them. I don't want to handle it for them. And that would be so presumptuous. Presumptuous was the word I was looking for a little earlier. I think that is really presumptuous, and it's treating other people as if they were children and not adults, right? Independent, responsible adults. That's the people I want to interact with.
Yeah, that's beautiful. All right, great. So switching gears a little bit, I wanted to chat about purpose. So part of what you talk about is finding your own joy. So a lot of questions I get from my clients are, where, like, I don't even know where to start to find my joy. What kind of advice would you give someone who feels maybe very disconnected and they want to feel that joy, but they don't know where to start?
Yeah, of course. We can get very confused about that. And again, it's a little bit about expectations, because when people start saying, oh, I want to find my purpose, right? Let's just start somewhere easy, right?
Okay.
I believe in making everything easy. As soon as it's difficult, then I think we've taken it a notch too far. So let's just step back and see, well, just ask ourselves, well, what would I like to be doing now? What would really please me? And it could be eating lots of chocolate, or it could be reading a novel, it could be watching Netflix, it could really be anything. But if you get into the habit of pleasing yourself, and that is not other people but yourself, and if you start taking that really seriously, if you go on pleasing yourself every day, at some point you will be so used to pleasing yourself that it will become completely natural. And I think if you always go after your own pleasure, you don't have to figure out a lot in your mind, because if you every day choose what pleases you most, you will be just automatically led to what is most pleasing to you. So you call it finding your joy, but joy, pleasure, love, all those good feelings is really what we're all after, isn't it? And
Absolutely.
I think nobody can tell you what it is. I mean, somebody like you can hold space for somebody so that they can feel into it. But like neither you nor I can say, oh, this is what it is for you. I think we need to have the courage to experiment a little bit, right? To really just try stuff out and see where it is we feel good.
Right. I love everything you said. And it's about like, sometimes, you know, I feel like people don't like the place where you're like in love and in so much joy doesn't happen immediately. Sometimes you have to start with what you like. So that's the advice I usually give. And so what do you like? And start with what you like. And like what I found in my own life, you know, where so I teach Kundalini yoga, and I love teaching that style. But when I went through my teacher training, what I realized is that whole experience wasn't really for me to teach yoga specifically. It was to learn to teach. And so like I was nudged to do that. And so I learned to teach, and that little piece like helped me for the next something else I needed later. So there's things that happen. And so if you follow those little breadcrumbs and you keep doing it and just follow at least what you like, and you just go for it and follow it with courage the way that you say you do, then you'll see things are falling into place in ways that you don't even understand yet. And it's going to help propel you for the next phase.
Yeah. One of the feelings I really like when you can't find your joy is finding satisfaction, because satisfaction is available in just rearranging a kitchen drawer, really. Right?
That's
Satisfaction
so true.
is quite easy to get if you think about it. You can go and tidy up your wardrobe, or you can do a lot of ironing or something where you get satisfaction. And I find that tidying stuff up or cleaning something, I immediately feel satisfaction, right? So if you're looking at something that is dirty and you clean it, wow, you're feeling better already. And that is just one step. That is one step towards your joy or your pleasure or your desire, whatever you want to call it. That is one step ahead. It's better than despair, isn't it? It's better than feeling despondent, frustrated, or angry or sad. If you can get to the satisfaction feeling, it's already a long way. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even just putting makeup on in the morning and, you know, that's so beautiful. So for my last question for you, I'd love you to, for you to share one practical tip or trick that our audience can apply today, so to step into their power.
I would like to really repeat what I've already said a little bit, and that is always think of yourself as the biggest gift you can give to any situation, gathering, or whatever it is that you are in. You, unadulterated you are the greatest gift. There's nothing more delicious, more empowering for everybody, more inspiring for everybody than you being you.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Just like being that adorable little puppy. Katrine, thank you so much for your time. I know that you have a free gift for our audience. Would you mind? And that the link to the free gift is just below this video. So can you please share a little bit about your generous free gift?
Well, it's a little ebook with 5 tips to ignite your self-love. So these are these baby steps we talked a little bit about that we can do every day just to start moving into the self-love. And when I talk about self-love, it's really unconditional. And these are little practical things that don't take a long time. So you've really got no excuse not to do them, right? So you can try out a few and see what really you like. And then on a consistent basis, start doing them. And you'll see that once you start doing something for yourself every day, that boosts your confidence, that makes you feel good about yourself, well, there's really no telling where it will take you. And I think that is really the first step to leading as this authentic human being that you are. So I recommend unconditional self-love as a starting point, and just let everything unfold for that. If you start off by loving yourself a little, it's not really that far off to believe that you deserve only the best. And then you'll go only for what is best for you. You will stop the tolerating, and you'll be able to embrace only what is best for you.
So beautiful. Thank you so much for your generous gift. So please check out Katarina's free gift. Click on the link below, join her world, learn all about her. Katarina, thank you so much for being with us today. It was a wonderful conversation, and we'll see the rest of you at the next interview. Thank you. Bye-bye.